find you something to do. Niggas that don't like me clicking up, that's what dick suckers do. Flying in that new shit, we ain't flexing, we just sliding through, don't play with me.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leak, and I'm back with another video, man. As I can tell by the title today, I'm going to be reacting to Australia's Deadly Gang War, GW versus 21 District. This is something that I'm trying out, man. Like watching documentaries. I'm finna start doing that. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about this video, and we finna hop straight into it. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and let go.
An 18-year-old has been killed and another two...
Man has been murdered in Sydney's West.
After the deadly stabbing of a 17-year-old at...
Now, Sydney is one of the most well-known cities in the world, and is in fact the capital of New South Wales. And whilst a lot of people confuse Sydney as the capital of Australia, this is actually false, as the capital of Australia is Canberra. As of 2022, Sydney was home to around...
I did not know that.
5.2 million people currently living in and around the city. Sydney is best known for its popular tourist destinations, an example being the Sydney Opera House. This alone attracts tourists.
Okay, I heard of that. Ain't that where like famous people perform at or something like that? If I'm not mistaken.
All over the world. However, what a lot of these tourists are unaware of is the ongoing and deadly gang war that has been playing out within the streets of Sydney, resulting in multiple people being shot, stabbed, and killed, with a spotlight then being shone on the young rappers on both sides of the rivalry. This subsequently resulted in the Australian drill scene exploding and turning these young Aussie drillers into superstars overnight. This being the bloody and deadly gang war between an alliance of street gangs based around the inner west of Sydney and greater western Sydney. Prominent gangs from inner west being Proper 60, G40, and MOB, although I'll speak about other inner west gangs later on within this video. These inner west gangs then rivaling the street gangs from greater western Sydney, which is home to multiple prominent gangs, including ONEFOUR, LF70, and RFA17. The rivalry between both gangs from the inner west and greater western Sydney has been playing out within the streets for around a decade, which is crazy as it was only in the last few years that rappers on both sides began making noise in the Australian drill scene. Although this wouldn't mean anything, as the rappers on each side are in a deadly feud with one another, resulting in broad daylight shootings, stabbings, and murders occurring, leading me to believe that this may be the craziest video I have made to date. But without further ado, let's get into one of, if not the craziest gang rivalries I've spoke about on this channel.
ONEFOUR, 27 District, G40, now 21 District.
A teenager has died outside Blacktown Police Station.
So to begin with, the first alliance of gangs is based around Greater Western Sydney, this being a large region that makes up the larger Sydney. The Greater Western area of Sydney is home to an alliance of gangs, more specifically based around the postcode that begins...
I like the way they map it out, like in the districts with the different color coding.
27, mainly around the...
My fault, I'm gonna shut up.
Druitt area. The gangs I'll be talking about include NF14 based around Mount Druitt. This gang is more popularly known as ONEFOUR, the NF14 gang being based around the 2770 postcode. LF70, also based around the 2770 postcode. RFA17, once again being from the 2770 postcode. And finally Section 60 from nearby St. Mary's. For simplicity's sake, I, like many others, will refer to these collections of crews as 27 District, or just 27, as the postcode begins with 27. Although the alliance of gangs also goes by other names. Other gangs are known to be affiliated with the gangs from 27 District, although if they aren't relevant to the story, I won't really speak on them. A few streets away from the Greater West allied gangs lies a rival gang known as 6-7, this being based around the suburb of Doonside, which is in fact based in the 27 postcode. It's important to note, however, that this 6-7 gang is not affiliated with the 27 District gangs, but instead the 6-7 gang is affiliated with their rivals from Inner West, or the 21 District. The gangs that directly rival the gangs from the 27 District is that of 21 District, which as you could probably tell is a group of gangs based around the 21 postcode, this then being in the inner west of Sydney. The gangs based around the 21 District include RFL from Blacktown 2148, G40 from Guildford 2161, Proper 60 or ML60 from Maryland's 2160. This Proper 60 gang being the gang that popular rapper A Huncho hails from. These group of gangs are closely allied with one another.
Let me know if I should react to A Huncho music. My fault.
and have a rivalry with the gangs from Mount Druitt from the 27 postcode. This collection of gangs from the 21 postcode is often referred to more simply as 21 District, or IWB, which is an acronym for Inner West Brothers, or Inner West Brotherhood. Due to how many gangs are involved, and in order to not confuse you, I'll refer to both sides of the rivalry as 27 District and 21 District. Now, you may be confused as to how gangs from two completely different postcodes within Sydney have come to have such a deadly rivalry with one another, resulting in brazen and violent attacks occurring in the streets of Sydney. Whilst it's not known how the rivalry between these groups of gangs began, what is known is as far back as 2015 teenage gang members from Doonside and Mount Druitt were getting into fistfights with one another over postcode territory. This then slowly evolving into stabbings and shootings. One of the first incidents recorded between the gangs was in 2015, when a fight video was uploaded onto YouTube titled Doonside vs. Mount Druitt. This video showing a group of NF14 members fighting HS members from Doonside in a Sydney street, and whilst no one was seriously injured, it would appear that these fights slowly escalated into a full-on postcode war. It's rumored that the gang from Doonside
Through the fire, through the fire. You can record studio quality vocals and
from Doonside, Mount Druitt, and Blacktown was known as RFL, before the Olders made younger members pick sides, with new gangs being created, examples being 6-7, RFA, and GRC, with it being believed that the gangs on the 27 postcode all linked up and rivaled the gangs from the postcode that started with 21. Now, it's important to note that Doonside is based around the 27 postcode, although the gang that is based in Doonside is known as 6-7, and actually has a rivalry with other 27 district gangs. This 6-7 gang then...
So are they on both blocks, or is it like, because they all in the same vicinity, it's like they could just go down the street, kill somebody, and then go back to their hood? Or are they, damn, I don't know.
Fighting with the 21 district gangs. Another incident occurred only months later in October 2015, when a 23-year-old man was beaten to death outside of a shop in Mount Druitt, and was later found by passers-by a few hours after the attack. It's rumored that the man killed had alleged ties to the NF14 crew, which has more popularly become known as ONEFOUR, with some even stating that the killer fled shortly after the brutal attack and made his way back to Blacktown, home to the 2148 Street Gang, RFL, or MOB. Rest in peace. During this time, the rivalry was more commonly known as Inner West versus Greater West, as like I discussed before, both groups of gangs were based in different sides of Sydney. The 27 postcode gangs in Greater West and the 21 postcode gangs in Inner West. In the first few months of 2016, the NF14 gang began to make noise in the underground Australian drill scene, releasing a direct diss track to the Inner West gangs, this being titled Inner West Diss. Within this song, the members referenced multiple incidents that saw rival members being stabbed or shot, as well as referencing multiple brawls that had occurred between the groups of gang members in the months prior. In both 2017 and 2018, the ONEFOUR collective began to make a huge noise in the Aussie drill scene, even beginning to make their own wave, which was not ever seen before, releasing huge tracks like Don't Want It in 2017 and What You Know in 2018. And whilst it looked as if ONEFOUR could explode in the Australian drill scene, in July 2018, a massive brawl that included ONEFOUR's key members occurred. This then subsequently resulting in ONEFOUR's most prominent and well-known members facing prison time for their involvement in this gang war. In July 2018, ONEFOUR members Lex14, YP, and Selly were in a pub when a brawl broke out between a group of men and the ONEFOUR members. Lex beat up a man until he was unconscious, before then taunting the unconscious man. Another ONEFOUR member known as YP used a chair leg and smashed it into a rival's head, whilst Selly repeatedly hit another man with a hammer. Now, this entire attack was caught on CCTV, thus leading to the arrests of all of the members involved. And in the end, Lex was given 4.5 years, whilst YP was given 4 years for his role in the attack, and finally Selly was given a 10-year sentence. These 3 arrests took ONEFOUR's most prominent members off the streets, resulting in other rappers beginning to carry the ONEFOUR name. It's believed that around this time, a group of Inner West members from 21 were on their way home from watching a rugby match, when they were noticed by rival Greater West, 27 members. It's rumored that following this, a young member from the Greater West or 27 gang retrieved a claw hammer and beat the rival Inner West member on a train. Images...
So these niggas is beating niggas with hammers like they Thor. In public though, like, they doing this shit casual. Some crazy shit.
following the attack showing a man with a severely bloody head. However, that is way too shocking to show on YouTube. Luckily, however, no one was seriously injured. Sadly, however, only a few months following this incident in October 2018, a member associated with 21 District would be killed by rival 27 members, resulting in get-back shootings and stabbings occurring, this being the death of Tino. On the 6th of October 2018, 20-year-old Tino Henry, who had alleged ties to the 21 District gang, would be standing with friends in an underpass near Fitzwilliam Street, which was close to Westfield, Parramatta. Tino and his friends were noticed by rival gang members from the Greater West crew, alleged to have been the LF70 gang, with a massive brawl then ensuing. Sadly, during this fight, Tino was stabbed multiple times with the wounds he sustained, proving to be fatal. As upon emergency services arrival on the scene, he was treated before he was rushed to Westmead Hospital, in which he sadly died a few hours later. Only a few minutes following the stabbing, 3 young men were arrested on nearby Hassall Street. The 3 men arrested were a 17-year-old, who was charged with the murder and was refused bail, a 20-year-old, and a 16-year-old who was later released from police custody, with it being rumored that in the end, the LF70 member was given 3 years for the murder of Tino, as he was under the age of 18. Rest in peace, Tino Henry. Following Tino's death, the ONEFOUR gang was completely exploding in the Australian drill scene, with the collective dropping the track titled What You Know around 20 days following Tino's death. This track currently sitting on around 3.6 million views, which was very good for an Australian drill rapper. This track currently sitting on around 3.6 million views, which was very good for an Australian drill rapper. At the beginning of 2019, ONEFOUR released the popular track titled Shanks and Shivs, which also gained a lot of attention, sitting on around 4 million views. It would actually be their next drop that would blow them into the mainstream, this being The Message, which was released in March 2019.
I reacted to that about 5 years ago. I remember that. Yeah.
Drop that would blow them into the mainstream, this being The Message, which was released in March 2019 and featured multiple disses towards Tino and the 21 District gangs. An example was when JM rapped, "Now, I'm proud to say to this day forward that the 7 put an op on a shirt," this line referencing the murder of Tino and how 27 District members were responsible. Later in the track, YP rapped the line, "21 what? But 1 got knocked. Ha, I guess that makes them 20. This also being a diss toward Tino. The death of Tino was thought to have resulted in retaliation attacks, one of these being in 2019, when a member associated with the 27 gang recorded himself chasing the Inner West rapper J Lex in Guildford. Luckily, J Lex made it out alive, but hours later he would arm himself and would travel to Mount Druitt with his brother in order to get back. The Inner West members, including J Lex, traveled to Mount Druitt in multiple cars. The members noticed a few 27 District members, and what followed this was a massive brawl in a car park. J Lex and his brother were both stabbed multiple times in a deadly and vicious attack, with both being rushed to hospital. However, both J Lex and his brother went on to survive the attack. This violent incident was later mentioned in YP from ONEFOUR's track titled Ben 10, in which he mentioned the incident, rapping,
Run up, get chef, blockchain. At least he tried his best. 1-4.
Now, remember I said that ONEFOUR had released a track titled The Message? Well, in July 2019, 21 District released a direct response to this track titled The Reply. This song gained a massive amount of attention, as both gangs were now warring it out in the public eye. The Reply currently sits on an impressive 3.2 million views. A few days following the release of The Reply, Spenny from ONEFOUR got into an argument online with a 21 District member who had made fun of Spenny's dead mum. Spenny then traveled onto Guildford, which was 21 District's block, and made a series of snaps on the block dissing his rivals. He then left after 25 minutes of lurking on his rival block. During this time, ONEFOUR had released their track titled Spot the Difference, which was an instant hit and blew up almost instantly, currently sitting on around 20 million views, which is crazy as no one had really gained this success in the Australian drill scene. However, what a lot of fans didn't know about was the ongoing gang feud that was only going to get more deadly as the years go on, with another violent incident occurring in the summer months of 2020. On the 28th of August 2020, at around 9:45 p.m., a member of the LF70 gang from 27, known as...
Shit, this was the peak of COVID, shit. After Kobe, Chadwick Boseman, right before King Von. Shit. Nah, this was when the world was shut down. These niggas was beefing when the world was shut down. What the fuck?
2020, at around 9:45 p.m., a member of the LF70 gang from 27, known under the street name Junes, was walking with a friend on Church Street when he was noticed by rivals from the alleged KTV gang. A verbal altercation then ensued. However, the argument slowly escalated, with Junes then attempting to run away. However, he was chased down by the attackers and was stabbed multiple times all over his body. Following the attack, the assailants then fled the scene, with emergency services arriving on scene shortly after. Junes was rushed to hospital and luckily went on to survive the attack. Now, not much is known about what happened following this, but what is known is that around this time in 2020, Section 60 members from 27 District were kidnapped by Inner West Youngers and forced to deny involvement. They were also told to say Inner West on top. This entire incident was recorded and uploaded onto social media, where it has since gained thousands of views. At the end of 2020, ONEFOUR linked up with the UK rappers Heady One, AJ Tracy, and Stormzy. This song was titled Ain't It Different Remix, and as you can guess, this was a remix to Heady One's popular track Ain't It Different with AJ Tracy and Stormzy. The remix was taken well and currently sits on around 2.8 million views. This then shining a bigger spotlight on the Australian drill movement, with commenters beginning to turn their heads towards ONEFOUR and the Aussie drill scene. In March 2021, Demons, who was associated with the 21 District gang, released a track titled Cyber Violence. Now, this track gained quite a bit of attention, and it really looked as if Demons could blow in the scene. However, just under a month following this release, he got himself caught up in a case that saw him stabbing a rival 7 times in broad daylight on CCTV. In April 2021, Demons, who was associated with 21 District, noticed a rival LF70 member who was sitting on the ledge of a counter. Both Demons and his friend then approached the rival LF70 member, asking him where he is from. And in a shocking turn of events that was caught on CCTV, Demons and his friend began attacking the LF70 member, stabbing him up to 7 times in his neck, back, and chest with a box cutter. The LF70 member was rushed to hospital and luckily went on to make a recovery following the attack, with Demons then being apprehended by police hours later. Demons ended up only serving a year in a juvenile detention for this stabbing. He was later released in 2022 and
Wait. So he stabbed somebody on TV. But what is the sentences out in Australia? Like, you could kill somebody and only do like 5 years, 10 years? Like, what? Like, he just did an attempted murder in broad daylight, stabbed a dude with a box cutter in his neck and all across his body, and they gave this nigga 1 year? What the fuck?
to directly talk about the incident in an interview in which he was asked about it, and he said,
And who the fuck is dude in the wheelchair?
went on to directly talk about the incident.
Who's dude right here? In the fucking wheelchair. What the fuck?
An interview in which he was asked about it, and he said,
Can you tell me about the stabbing that you were involved in? What happened there?
Just personal beef, just had a problem with one of my brothers, and one thing went to another. It was over me or him, he's in the wrong area at the end of the day.
It was actually only a few months following this almost fatal stabbing that a younger that was allegedly associated with the Greater West Gang Section 60 and ONEFOUR would be stabbed to death following a brawl, thus leading to 2022 becoming an extremely dangerous year between these large street gangs in Sydney.
An 18-year-old has been killed and another 2 teenagers are fighting for life after a late-night brawl in Sydney's west.
On the 1st of September 2021, 18-year-old Orbsky, who was rumored to have been an associated of the QSB set, which was based around St. Mary's, and was allied with other 27 gangs. Anyways, on the 1st of September 2021, Orbsky and a few friends were walking in Blacktown. They were noticed by alleged rivals from the MOB gang, which was a crew based around Blacktown. A massive brawl then broke out in the streets, with members on both sides retrieving knives. Sadly, however, Orbsky was stabbed multiple times in this brawl, with 2 other 15-year-olds also sustaining knife wounds as a result of the deadly brawl. Orbsky was rushed to a hospital, but sadly was pronounced dead a few hours later. Both 15-year-olds went on to luckily survive the attack, with police then launching a murder investigation hours after the attack. Several people were arrested after the murder. This included 4 17-year-olds and even a 14-year-old. However, I couldn't find who was found guilty and charged. Rest in peace, Orbsky. Dozens of tributes poured in following Orbsky's death, with people from all over the internet showing their love to him. A few witnesses to the crime would later come out stating,
About 6 or 7 guys running after a couple of people. They were screaming pretty bad.
It was also stated that the death of Orbsky may have been a retaliatory attack for a 16-year-old who was beaten to death in Doonside only a few weeks earlier, around a few streets away from where the deadly brawl occurred that claimed Orbsky's life. However, this is just alleged and isn't confirmed. Rest in peace, Orbsky. Over a month following the death of Orbsky, on the 29th of November 2021, a group of Proper 60 or ML60 members, as a quick note, Proper 60 is a gang that is based around Maryland's 2160. This Proper 60 60 gang being allied with other Inner West gangs, and having a rivalry with gangs like ONEFOUR, LF70, and RFA17, you may know the Proper 60 gang as A Huncho actually reps it. Anyways, on the 29th of November, a group of Proper 60 members would be walking outside the World Gym in Western Sydney when a group of ONEFOUR members noticed the rivals, unleashing what was described as a hail of bullets onto the Proper 60 members, the bullets narrowly missing young children that were playing in a daycare. However, Murat, who was a close friend of A Huncho, was shot in the leg with his bone appearing to shatter on camera. Although luckily he survived the shooting, this entire incident was caught on CCTV and was one of the most shocking things I've watched, with it being reported that around 18 bullets were shot toward the Proper 60 members. Now, multiple other tit-for-tat incidents occurred between the gangs following this shooting. However, I'll only really be speaking on the most well-known incidents, as so much has happened within this gang rivalry in Sydney. The next incident in the beef, however, was an extremely brutal and vicious home invasion that occurred in the first few months of 2022. On the 5th of April 2022, a group of RFA members got the drop on a rival's 6-7 members home from Doonside at around 2:30 a.m. CCTV showed a car containing the...
I ain't gonna lie, they be getting back fast. Like, they be getting to it. They be getting active quick. Like, they don't be playing.
RFA members driving down Cameron Street in Doonside. 6 members of the RFA gang then got out of the car and walked towards a home that belonged to an alleged 6-7 member known as Razy. The RFA members then broke into the home and attacked Razy's brother, Star. In the CCTV recorded on the street, you can actually hear Star screaming after he had been stabbed, followed by his dad then rushing in to check on him. This being when the RFA members turned their attention toward his dad, stabbing him as well. It's then believed that his mum ran in, before she was also stabbed badly. With the RFA members fleeing shortly after the triple stabbing, Star, his dad, and his mum were rushed to hospital, where they made a steady recovery following the attack. The occupants then told police that 4 people armed with knives stormed the home, with police then establishing that the...
It's the fact that they're not even running in with guns. They're running in with knives, and they're on some Michael Myers shit, but like OD though, like, cause it's multiple of them, and they ain't care about the mom or the dad. They just stabbed them off rip, like, and they stabbed his brother. Like, damn.
Occupants then told police that 4 people armed with knives stormed the home, with police then establishing that the group first assaulted Star, before his mum and dad rushed to his aid, in which the mum and dad were both stabbed. Luckily, however, they survived. Police then treated the home as a crime scene and collected forensic evidence, leading to the arrests of the teens involved days later. This triple stabbing was later referenced in unreleased RFA tracks, in which the rappers rapped,
Stick right through the backstab his dad. We tried to turn him back. I didn't give a fuck about his mum, cause she got stabbed too.
Now, following this almost fatal triple stabbing, the Sydney Royal Easter Show was beginning to get in session from the 8th of April until the 19th of April 2022. If you didn't know, this show was annually held and was highly anticipated each year for its entertainment. One of the people working at this show was 17-year-old Uwati Pele Falatolu, who was working on the breakdance ride. And whilst it looked up for Uwati, who was even having a child, sadly on the 11th of April 2022, only 6 days after the triple stabbing that had occurred, Uwati was sadly stabbed to death at the Royal Easter Show. On the 11th of April 2022, at around 8 p.m., a group of RFA members would be attending the Royal Easter Show. It's believed that a massive brawl broke out at the show, resulting in people being attacked, and it was believed that during this brawl, Uwati was stabbed multiple times in the chest by a group of RFA members. It's rumored that Uwati's 15-year-old relative was also in attendance, and upon hearing the news that Uwati had been stabbed, his 15-year-old relative began chasing a group of 3 around with a knife, before he then went on to be arrested, with a video even emerging showing the arrested screaming 6-7 motherfucker. This being a reference to the 6-7 gang from the 2767 postcode that has a rivalry with ONEFOUR and other allied gangs. Uwati was rushed to hospital, but was sadly pronounced dead moments later, with a murder investigation being launched. Now, before I continue, it's believed that Uwati wasn't in fact a gang member, but allegedly knew a few members from the 6-7 gang, thus sadly making him a target. But either way, rest in peace, Uwati. My thoughts and prayers go out to his friends and family.
God damn, people keep getting stabbed everywhere, man. They don't care where you at, bro. They stab you if at a corner war or anything.
Following the death of Uwati, his killers went on the run and would begin to rap about the crime with an alleged 14-year-old member of the RFA gang, even going on to remix Tay K's track titled The Race that was rapped by the alleged 14-year-old RFA member. Now, in July 2022, after a few months of being on the run, Wati's killers were arrested. This included a 14-year-old among the 3 teens arrested. Police made the arrests after watching hundreds of hours of CCTV footage, phone data, and social media. All 3 have gone on to be charged with the murder. However, I couldn't find if they were sentenced or not. Wati was described as a happy and outgoing man with a loving heart. He was a caring brother, a loyal friend, and a selfless son and partner. Rest in peace, Wati Pele Falatolu. It was in the months following Wati's death that members from the LF70 gang began to release music that gained loads of attention. In June 2022, the LF70 collective released the track titled Pine Grove, which currently sits on around 385,000 views. Now, remember I spoke about the shooting that ONEFOUR members carried out on Proper 60 members, hitting A. Huncho's friend, Murat, in the leg. Well, Murat decided to flee Australia to Turkey in July 2022, after a large amount of money was put on his head. In September 2022, however, he would sadly die following a heart attack after a gym session, with news of his death hitting Sydney very quickly. Rest in peace, Murat. My thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends. Even though Murat didn't die due to any rivalry, his opposition often mention him, with A. Huncho carrying his name in a more positive light, often shouting him out in his songs. At the beginning of 2023, LF70 were making serious noise within the streets of Western Sydney, releasing the track titled Ching. This currently sitting on an impressive 500,000 views. They wouldn't stop there and released the track titled Run Up in October 2023. This also gaining a good amount of attention, currently sitting on around 225,000 views. Now, RFA 17 also released one of their first songs around this time, releasing the track titled Traumatized in December 2023, with people beginning to watch the scene once again. Blanco, who is a well-known UK drill rapper from Kennington, even took a liking to the track, posting it on his story and showing love to the RFA 17 collective. Now, it's believed that during this time, Razy from 6'7" was set up by a girl, who had subsequently given his location to rival RFA 17 members, who followed him in a car for a few minutes on camera, making threats toward him. Luckily, however, he managed to get out alive. As of recently, YP from ONEFOUR would be released from prison, following that 2018 attack on rivals. Upon his release only mere weeks later, he became a priest and decided to give his life to God, instead of living the gang life, thus leading to him quitting the music scene. This always being the best outcome from this road life, as realistically, the gang life only ever leads to jail or death, and rarely anything positive. He would actually appear in an interview in which he spoke about changing his life, and even spoke about a murder plot against him, this plot being foiled by police in January 2024.
Does the past and this murder plot concern you? Does it worry you?
Wasn't surprised, I guess. I knew that people wanted my life, rightfully so. I've done wrong to certain people, and at their own due time, I hope they can forgive me, but I was young and dumb, and
In March 2024, RFA 17 members released the music video to their popular track titled First Thing First. This music video also contained another track titled Trazil. Now, this song gained quite a lot of attention, just showing that these youngins are the future of Australian drill. And whilst it looked as if these young rappers could make it out of the streets, just under a month following this release, another person would sadly be killed as a result of Sydney's endless gang war. As of most recently, on the 12th of April 2024, members alleged to be from the 27 District Allied Gang would notice 18-year-old Iza Naden, who was also known as Zaya. Zaya and his older brother would be stabbed multiple times by the members. Both Zaya and his brother were rushed to hospital. Sadly, however, Iza Naden, or Zaya, was pronounced dead at Blacktown Police Station moments later. Following this, a murder investigation was launched, with the people that supposedly committed the crime going on to brag about it on Instagram Live, these lives being recorded and saved. In the end, however, 3 teens were arrested and charged for the murder. Rest in peace, Iza Naden, or Zaya. Now, it's not known if Zaya was involved in any gangs, with some people claiming he was close with 6-7 members, and some saying he was a civilian and didn't in fact have any gang rivalries. Either way, however, rest in peace, Zaya. Since the death of Zaya, however, nothing else has really occurred within the beef, with a lot of the tit-for-tat incidents going unnoticed and not even being reported in the news. Now, if you have learned anything from this video, however, make sure that it is to stay out of the streets, as this gang lifestyle that you see these rappers living often only leads to jail or death. Oftentimes these rappers have lost most of the people around them to the roads, and have to live the harsh reality of constantly being cautious. This furthering the point that this life is not worth it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, as it helps out the channel.
Facts. The streets can only get you so far, man. You gotta get on this YouTube shit. You gotta stay on this YouTube shit. Y'all go check that video out if you haven't seen it already. I fuck with that video. I fuck with the explanation, the narrator. I rate that video like a smooth 9 out of 10. It was good. Let me know if y'all fuck with these videos. I'll keep doing it. But yeah, stay tuned, stay lit. It's your boy Leak. Hit the subscribe button. I'm out this bitch. Comment what I should react to next.